He pushed back desperately and narrowly avoided getting his skull dashed against a rock. He lost all sense of time as he struggled with the big Easterman. A minute or an hour might have passed as they battered each other on the bank of the river, neither able to get the upper hand. Finally they broke apart, and his opponent stepped back, breathing hard. Slowly he became aware that they were being watched, and he turned. A half-dozen faces stared back. One he knew well, beneath the bruises that had turned his boyish features into a discoloured mess. Leif. One of the men held a long dagger to Leif's throat. Two others had arrows nocked and drawn. The meanest-looking shook his head and spat on the snow. "Where are the rest of you hiding?" "The rest of us?" He knew to whom the man referred, or reckoned he did, and if that was the case he was as good as dead. "Your gang. Been raiding the settlements near the borderland for the last year. Left a family murdered in their beds, mother and children and all." The memory made him wince. He wiped his face with the back of his hand and examined the bloody smear it left. He glanced up. The sky had grown dark as an old bruise. "I'm waiting for an answer, boy." He narrowed his eyes and stared at the lamb lying skewered by the side of the river. "It wasn't me that did that. Nor Leif nor Red Ear." "You gonna tell me the three of you split from the group when it started killing folk?" "It's the truth." The leader of the Eastermen spat again. "We'll do this the hard way, then." He gestured at the man holding Leif. "Drown him in the river. Slowly, mind. Give our friend here time to ponder whether there's anything he should be telling us." Leif began to struggle as he was dragged to the river. His friend was little more than a child, in truth, and his efforts to wriggle free were hard to watch. But he didn't turn away. Not even as Leif's head was forced under the churning water. "How old are you?" the leader asked, once Leif's head was dragged back up again. 16, he replied. He could see Leif's teeth chattering uncontrollably. The wiry youngster was struggling to catch his breath, and his skin had turned a nasty shade of blue. "Huh, hardly more than a boy, and yet you knocked two of my men senseless. Butchering that woman and her kids must have been easy work." He was growing angry now. "I told you we didn't do it. All we ever did was steal some livestock. We left Scarn and the others before they reached Eastermeet." Leif went into the water again. When he came back up, his eyes had rolled back in their sockets. He wasn't struggling anymore. The leader gestured at the limp figure. "He's done. Finish him and throw the body in the river." Rage surged through him. He liked Leif, who was smart and had a cheerful nature, despite the fact that he'd cut his uncle's throat rather than spend another night in his bed. Leif had watched out for him when he had joined Scarn's gang, saved him from a bloody confrontation or two when his pride wouldn't let him back down. "You drown him and I'll kill you." The men with bows shifted slightly, their arrows nocked and ready to loose. Their leader gave an ugly little chuckle and nodded at the man holding Leif. "Drown him." He charged. The next thing he knew, he was lying on the ground, staring up at the leaden sky. Snowflakes fluttered down to melt on his face. He reached for his knee and felt an arrow protruding there. A face loomed over him. That was stupid. Brave, but stupid. "Men." He felt himself being dragged across the snow toward the sound of rushing water. They turned him roughly and held him out over the river. He stared across the ice melt, watching as Leif's body twisted and spun like its namesake before it finally went under. Then someone took hold of his hair, and his own head was pushed down, toward that freezing maelstrom of ice. "Wait." His would-be executioners hesitated, and his head came to a halt an inch above the water. He stared into its savage depth.